Well, the more reactions trailing the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. We've got two gentlemen here with us to give their perspectives on the matter. Afegbua, on my immediate right, is the spokesperson of the Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP. And then you've got on my far right, Mr. Salisu Mohammed, who is a member of the APC. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Well, Mr. Afegbua, looking at the fact that it was a unanimous judgment, and many just wonder, whoa, yes, the PDP headed to appeal the matter. That's going to be a Herculean task, isn't it? Given the fact that it's not even a split judgment. How is the party relating with that?
Herculean in what sense? You mean in us going forward to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, since it's because there are those who... because when they see, in some of the judgments, you have 3 against 2.
It's okay. It's okay, whatever it is. You can call it a unanimous fraud. You'll be right, because we have advanced very, very serious and very cogent reasons why we felt that the 2019 elections were flawed, heavily flawed. And but for going to this tribunal, we would not have known that you can apply for any job without attaching credentials. So this particular tribunal has opened up a new vista in terms of legal jurisprudence, in the sense that even while INEC from CF001 stipulates right on it that evidence or certificates must be attached to this form, the court has told us now that you don't need to attach any certificates or anything when you are applying for anything. So it's a new window of opportunity for those who may want to claim titles they don't have. If I call myself a professor now, and I've told a lot of people since 2 days ago that I'm now Professor Afegbua, don't ask me where I got my professorship. I will go and swear to an affidavit.
Is that your interpretation of...
That's my interpretation. I will go and swear to an affidavit and tell you that, well, I misplaced my certificates, or where I worked before, they took it and I can't find it, and this affidavit suffices. So, whether we like it or not, you see, the judiciary must wake up to its responsibility of safeguarding this democracy, because when people don't get fair judgment when they go to court, when elections come, they will apply jungle justice, and that will be dangerous for democracy.
Right. Mr. Mohammed, how do we deal with this narrative? How do you relate and dissuade the perspective of perhaps those who take this as gospel?
Well, once again, good morning, and thank you for having me. First and foremost, I look at it from 2 sides. We should look at it from the angle of what our democracy has really come of age, in the same sense that you can go for an election, go before the tribunal, all parties, everybody really conducted themselves up until the tribunal level. Everybody would dispute when there.
But that has always been the case.
Well, but what we're saying is the fact that everybody went there and the way the turnout of it, it's commendable. At least we are moving forward. Now, then the greatest joy for everybody here is the details in which we heard from the verdict of the Lord Justices, in terms of every item, every petition that was brought up.
Speak to the one he raised. First,
I'm
presentation.
I'm coming to that. Everything was clearly spelt out. Now, going back to what he said in terms of now you can apply to a school without your credentials. I don't think that is what they said. What from my own understanding, was yes, the army had his credentials. They even clearly stated it on a particular form. They were fully aware of what he had. If at the time that he presented, they said present what or whatever, the army clearly is aware of what he has. Why would you think they will come up with he's not even qualified, but he is overqualified to even run for the office of the president? So it was a wonderful judgment. It was super, it was crystal clear. For the first time, this is one of the first ones I'm really following to the letter. And I appreciate the way our Lord Justices went to really explain everything clearly with them. So for me, I was really shocked to hear that the PDP is going forward, because it's amazing. What more was untouched? What was not said? What was not? It was like a jigsaw puzzle that every little piece was put in there. Everything from card reader, from bringing someone from Kenya who was not, I mean, even me going to employ a driver today, I'll ask, where's your driver's license? Who did you work for? I mean, it's amazing. The facts that came out of there was...
But how come the PDP you don't share the same view?
well, clearly they don't, because they want to go forward with this. But for me, what I think is most important, like I said, is we have really raised the bar now in terms of really understanding and appreciating the fact that you can really go out there and seek justice if you want. But the issue, what we are saying is, like, for instance, what was said yesterday is, do not waste time, our precious time, because that is the bottom line of what we saw.
They have a right.
They have the right.
The president did the same thing.
Yeah, no, he did the same thing, but you can't compare that. That was even where late President Yaradua came out to say in his inaugural speech that the first thing he mentioned was electoral reforms, because he knew the process that brought him was not credible.
Has the president mentioned the same thing?
Let me take you up still on this same issue of the qualification. One of the things that the tribunal panelist says that, and I quote, in effect, the second defendant went through secondary education and then proceeded to military school. The military school is higher than secondary education. Do you agree?
If I agree, that what?
The military school is higher than secondary education, according to the tribunal.
I think, you see, the tribunal only assumed the role of defense counsel to the APC. Because what we pleaded in the tribunal is that on account of discrepancies of the certificate, that's WASC certificate, on account of those discrepancies, don't forget that there was an oath, a sworn affidavit, that this is my certificate. If you compare what was tendered in 2015 and you compare it with what was tendered in 2019, you see the discrepancies. A man who passed through WASC cannot be showcasing two different credentials in terms of where you say the same school, you say you attended, you claim credit here, you claim A here, and all of that. Those two discrepancies, that is one. Secondly, there was a letter from the principal which states that this man will pass. He didn't say he has passed. That means he didn't finish when he enlisted in the Nigerian army. All of these issues, the tribunal justices just overlooked and went on the defense of the APC. What we are saying is that, look at an appointee of the president, Okono Obla, who was recently relieved of his responsibility because there are allegations, very copious ones, against him on issue of qualification, that he used a forged document or whatever that to enlist in Nigerian university, and that he is claiming to be a lawyer, but the foundation for enlisting in that university was faulty. And the president...
Aren't those two different in the sense that to contest elections, the requirement is you show your primary school certificate or equivalent or something higher. Then if you're getting into a university,
yes,
the requirements are different.
Chamberlain, you made my case easier. How? What we are saying is that if the president had written on his form CF001, where it was stated that you have to attach photocopies, evidence of your certification, if he had written that I can read and write, period, you have fulfilled the condition of the Constitution. But in this case, he said his results were with the military. When I was in the APC, we thought that they were trying to be clever by half, but deny him the opportunity of having access to his credentials.
I thought the military said they had the records.
No, he is the one who is saying that. Yeah. What records? What records? Well, listen to General Ale when he granted this thing. And at any rate, they brought their witness to court, General Paul Tafa, to come and testify. Do military collect credentials from you when you enlisted, because they were mates? He said no, they didn't, nothing like that. Our credentials are with us. So please, President Buhari, present your credentials to all, let us see. It is not, if he has written, I can read and write in English. He said no, because in the Constitution, it is stated that if in the opinion of INEC, you can read and write, you qualify to run for election.
But just, if this wasn't an issue when he contested the first time.
It was an issue.
he's a
You
several
remember,
president.
it was a heated issue.
Yes, but
we thought the military were trying to play along with, you know, the military, they normally follow the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So we thought they were playing along with President Jonathan, so deny him the access to his credentials.
Yeah, but
now, since he has become president in 4 years, we thought he would have been able to clean up. But this was the time that we are seeing more of discrepancies, attestation, photo ops, these are my mates in secondary school and all of that. If I'm applying for any position now, I will attach photocopies of those who attended any training with me, and I say this is my certificate.
For those who, I mean, there's several people who just wondered, they thought, how is it that, even without looking through the judgment, how is it that the party chose to make this one of the grounds of appeal? Because they thought, could someone who's risen to the highest level of the military in the country not have an equivalent?
I think you are missing the point. It's not rising to the highest level that is the issue. It is on what foundation did you build your rising on? Corner Obla, now to use him as another example again. There have been allegations. He says he has gone to court and all of that. But the same government that fights anti-corruption, that prides itself as a corruption fighter, I say one who relieved him of his responsibility because there are claims
but
that
did the law
there
say
are
that
issues.
You will prove that you passed or just that you attempted?
Even if you attempt, it's okay. But in this case, there's no attempt. We have not seen it.
How do you know that it was not attempt?
Cambridge, the letter they brought from Cambridge. We didn't see any evidence of him being passing through that.
I think the law is very clear. It's not for public opinion. It's not a popularity contest. The law is clear on these things, and I think this one of the greatest things that came out of this verdict was the integrity of the president, because for a long time this thing has been in the front burner, not by people who did not know, but people who clearly know and want to just cause mischief. And clearly, these are justice clearly has. They have spelled it all out for all of us. And I really think the way forward for us now should be, we should start looking at, let's leave all these issues and think about how to build a nation. We need the PDP to really start to become a credible opposition, a serious opposition, because we need that. We don't want to go back to the way the PDP was for 16 years, being a one-party state, a one-party in a country. Let's have them as a credible opposition, challenging government policies so that we can have better life for Nigerians. That is what is key. We have passed through a rigorous stage now in terms of what we saw. The whole country, nobody is even talking about this because we all knew before the election they didn't have a case, but they went to say, so it was further. It was. I think I would really go.
Let me. One of the things, Mr. Mohammed, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I didn't work on that. I was by my TV set all through.
We'll get to that.
It was a choice.
Yes, you probably could afford it. But you know, one of the things that I think the PDP is making an issue of, and I think it's something that many people would also be concerned about. Look, if you're going to govern, if you're going to get a job as a clerk in an office, you need X qualification. If you're going to get, a clerical attachment, you get, some kind of qualification that's a lot higher than a school certificate. So that's on the one hand. So don't you see that? Don't you think that we need to upgrade the quality of education that we need for anyone running for office, any office at all?
You mean on the whole we should upgrade the level? Well, you could argue that, yes, but I am also from a school of thought. You see, I'm someone who also believes that for me today in Nigeria, if you tell me that we should go and stock up degrees, get this, get that, I don't believe. I believe primary unity schools is because look at today, a simple example, the richest people in the world, how many of them is degrees and MScs and PhDs?
But they had good grounding at the beginning, which is what he is talking about. And look at the requirement of the law. One minute, Mr. Mohammed. 1 minute. One of the issues that he has also raised is that, look, the PPT has ruled that, look, you don't need to show certificate that you went to school. You just need to prove it. How do you prove it without a certificate?
But it has been, I mean, even online now, if I Google, I can see the president's certificate. Everything.
But that's the issue that he's raising.
No, what I think where the PDP is having a problem is from their own perspective is that when he came to enlist in the army, it was that according to them, that it was not attached. Now, what we heard from our
that
Lord
he
Justice,
doesn't have. That he doesn't have.
no,
Not that it was not
that's
attached.
his voice.
That's our position.
It wasn't attached. But our Lord Justices have now clearly told us everything, and we'll go by them because we are law-abiding.
Okay.
We believe in the judicial process, and for now, they have the right to go to the Supreme Court, which they have done, and we will meet them there to see what will come out of this.
The other point, which the one of the terms that they kept on using there was that when it had to do with the transmission of results, the tribunal said the PDP didn't prove their case, and they used the word with mathematical precision.
Oh my God.
Okay, we don't know how that was going to happen, but
well, in the season of technicality, particularly under an APC government, you should expect all manners of.
this is the judiciary.
Of course, the judiciary has been cowed. They have been intimidated. They have been
when they
by
gave
the APC.
When they gave Zamfara to PDP, they were not. When they gave Rivers to PDP, they were not.
They didn't give. It was obvious in the case of Zamfara. It was obvious that your party did not conduct a primary. Everybody saw it. So if they had done otherwise, it would have been strange.
In Nigeria, 16 years. Would this happen during the Obasanjo era? It would not happen.
No, please.
Definitely something would have happened.
Let's just stay on the issue, Mr. Mohammed.
You see, allow me to learn, because 80% of the members of APC are part and parcel of PDP that you saw accused.
We're cleaning them. We're cleaning them. They're being cleansed.
So please leave all of that.
They're being cleansed.
You see, in this area of technicality, where even in the case of Oshun, you saw the justice of the Supreme Court saying that the absence of a judge was a major issue against a litigant. How does somebody who did not who decided to absent himself now become the problem of a litigant who has brought a case before you? But that is the era we are in, when judges whom have been boggled into and they have been harassed here and there, when Onogen was being removed in a very questionable manner and all of that. Then you begin to, everybody who is a judge will just sit back. They don't have balls. Or some of the justices don't have balls. So they will naturally. Because
you didn't prove your case beyond reason.
It's not about proving. You see, the same tribunal that talked about electronic whatever is this, a card reader. What's a card reader? It's not an electronic device.
No, but that's for accreditation purposes.
No, wait. If you use an electronic device to do accreditation, where is it written in the law? It's only in the guidelines of INEC.
Hey, but how is the party going to
and the guidelines are law.
How is the party going to prove this, as they say, beyond reasonable doubt and with mathematical precision at the appeal, when INEC themselves too were thankful to the judges for that judgment?
No, INEC will be thankful to the point that they've gotten a legal basis now to cover up for their flaws and for their inadequacies. And so that is expected. But you see, the critical issue is that, I've said it before, in the hearts of Nigerians, they know that the PDP won election at the polling units. When it got to the collation center, the APC manipulated, and the court have just finally given, a lead to that by, crowning the rigging at the collation center with the kind of judgment they've given. Because you talk about electronic transmission of results. You spend so much billions of naira, it's captured in the budget, taxpayers' money, preparing persons for this. You told everybody who was to participate in the election, this is what you're going to do. You assured us, you came up with a guideline, and then in the final analysis you said because it's not in the law that you didn't use it. But there's no problem. Life is all about consciences and character of people. At times you just give up because you find yourself in a very helpless situation. But in terms of the facts of the matter, no one can say that we didn't prove our case.
Well, Mr. Mohammed, let me just follow up on this with you. I see a tweet here from, he says is Russian Technologies. He says, quote, "I was an observer in Oyo State and did see the electronic transmission of results from 3 polling booths I observed." So when you say it's not for public opinion, but they say justice must not just be done, but it must be seen to have been done. So if this is the perception of people, how do we deal with that?
Was that something someone said he saw that?
Yes.
I wonder how could he have seen that? Because let me tell you the way we know elections happen. You come to your polling units. the card reader is given to you, boom, just like you said, just to recognize you, to really accept that you and only you has come there with your card. After that, what has been told to you, go and pick a manual form. You now vote manually. It is now recorded. At the end of the exercise, what has happened? Your agent, my agent, all stand before a ballot, and each one, 2, 3, everything is counted, countersigned by everybody, and then transformed to the next level, put on that form. So how can anybody tell me anywhere that we did electronic voting, that there's a server? I mean, for me, that is what I cannot even understand how they would want to push that there's a server where card readers are not for elections. We did everything manually. Everybody had a form. It was given when they give you, they make sure you put your thumb. And so I cannot. For me, of all the issues that were at that, this was the one that all through I always knew that it would be thrown out, because I personally participated in the election. I saw the process. So if anybody says he saw results transmitted electronically, so it was clear. He said, where was it transmitted? What was the server? Even the expert that came did not even know the code to the server, did not know. I mean, it was such a detailed, let's not go into, I think what is most important now is that, well, the PDP has decided to go to the Supreme Court. That is within their right.
But Mr. Afegbua,
you see, just quickly,
I also see one here. It says, well, thank God the president didn't sign the new Electoral Act. Deep pockets have brought and produced several results. Please, let there be best security before going electronically.
Please, Chamberlain, the explanation he's given is very obvious. This man didn't vote.
How?
Yeah, it's very obvious. Because if you follow the voting process, once you are accredited, you collect paper, you vote manually. The issue of manual voting is not in contention. What is in contention is the transmission. And INEC trained persons, ad hoc staff, with respect to the use of the card reader. The card reader is not just for accreditation. No. There are codes for transfer of result to a central server. They are there because we all monitor, but because please allow me, we all monitored election. I voted in my polling unit, and we all stood until the final thing was counted. Why it is so is because as you accredit, biometrically, the card reader will be taking stock of the number of persons that have accredited. If there are 300, we are expecting that the outcome of the manual will be 300. And once they've done that, the manual is to back up the evidence and the information in the card reader. And from there, whatever that is gotten from the 300, it will be so manually electrically transmitted on that card reader. The facility is there.
The point of the judges, if I understand it correctly, is everything was manual.
No, the judges will tell you that because they said they were speaking for APC because they felt because it's electronic.
Because they also said, let me just. Yes. They also said that look, the register, the manual register, is the one that is in use. That whether it's if the card reader were there or not, the manual register will still be.
You see, the problem is the card reader wasn't used in the election or not
for accreditation.
Accreditation is even the key aspect of voting. Was it used? Is a card reader an electronic device? It is.
Okay, but they're two different. Okay, let's get into respond. So let's go ahead.
Let me start with response. Mr. Afegbua has even said everything we are talking about this card reader when he explained the process. It is just why let's figure out why was the card reader brought before the 2015 election? What was the problem? People were overvoting. The number of people that come, but the card reader is just to identify 4 of us have really come. We can't go to any other polling unit and do it. So we tally that to the number of forms that people have done. That is just the work of the card reader.
No.
It is just for accreditation.
If you didn't send people for training with INEC, say you didn't do that. Because there are apps. There are apps that the ad hoc staff were taught.
I wish you could play the INEC chairman explaining. There's a video whereby I think Sheon Akumele was interviewing the INEC chairman where he clearly spoke on this whole issue thing of this server.
But INEC
electronic
didn't
voting.
train ad hoc staff.
Yeah, they're
for
training
that
ad hoc
process.
staff because of for future things. But for this one, the Electoral Act does not even allow that. I think where we should, like I said, this issue is a non-issue. Everybody knows it clearly. We voted manually. Results were read to us manually. All agents, party agents, and going back to one serious thing he said that was so shocking to me. He said it's an APC-led thing, where the election process. But when they gave verdict that,
we'll come back to that.
They
are indeed confident that look, no matter what the PDP throws at them, they've got it covered.
You know why I'm laughing? Nigeria has a very serious problem on its hands.
How?
When you listen to political players, chieftains of political parties speak in a language of dismissal, then it offends the very conscience of the nation. How do I mean? You see, as a party chairman, I expected him to convey a language of moral suasion, a language of persuasion, because the 11-point-something million people that was credited to an article by INEC are Nigerians who are affected by the misgovernance and the underperformance of an APC-led federal government under Comrade Adams Oshomole. Whether you like it or not, every indices of development has been the negative in the last 4 years. I am not an economist. I saw it on your channel's TV when Brixmark reeled out all the indices. So they should feel the pain that at this time, in the heart of hearts of Nigerians, they are hot. That is why you saw on Wednesday when the verdict was given, there was some kind of palpable lull and quiet in the country as if something befell this country. You know, as if Nigerians, something befell Nigerians. And one was expecting to see some kind of spontaneous jubilation, but you cannot jubilate in the fit of hunger, poverty, deprivations, IDPs, everywhere, insecurity, kidnappings, and all the misgovernance of the APC in the last 4 years and going to 5 years now. So the kind of language I want to see is a language that resonates hope. It's a language that tells the ordinary president that yes, we've got some statesmen there
But isn't that what
who will bring out some level of patriotism on the part of the people in the face of gloomy economic
But
situation.
isn't that what the president said when the judgment was delivered? That everyone should come together now and.
No, I always don't like to discuss about what president said because.
But that's what you are asking
listen,
from the national chairman of the party.
Listen. You see, that is the disconnect. It means that the party is not even sitting down to take decisions or inform position on issues before they go out to speak. If the president is preaching this and the party chairman is boasting on the other hand, we have in the same party 2 persons. But of course, APC is a party where you have 4 different positions on issues, all of them traveling on several roads.
It's very clear that Mr. Afegbua is not really following events. This statement of the national chairman was after your party said they were going to the Supreme Court.
It's our right.
It is your right, yes. If you listen to when he was in the courtroom, the interview by channels and other things, he said the same thing the president said. I wish it could be played here. His statement here is after you have come out like your party chairman, we totally reject the results, blah, 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 this and that. There we're not talking about unity, the same unity you're talking about, let's try is not. And then I think it's really unfortunate that you say that the whole country was not. What the whole country went through during that thing was we were dumbfounded that people actually went to court and this is what they came with.
But
without facts, without, I mean.
Yeah, but still on that statement.
That's what Nigerians were dumbfounded. And again, Nigerians were so sure they didn't have the case. So it was nothing to jubilate about. It was something we always knew we would win.
Even if your party knew or knows that they're confident that they're going to win at the Supreme Court, should that rhetoric come? Because there are those who may think that, look, this puts the judges under pressure. Because if the judgment goes the same way, Of course, you know, there are those...
Sorry, what rhetoric is that? You mean the statement of the national chairman? But what did the national chairman say? From my understanding,
We'll defeat them. We'll defeat them.
We will meet them. We will meet them.
I will defeat them.
We will meet them at the Supreme Court, and we will still the same.
And they will win.
Yes, based on what we saw. At Chamberlain, you saw it. Somebody from Kenya that's not even certified. You couldn't even prove that security agencies.
Yeah, but Mr. Mohammed, you know that minutes are not necessarily in words. Minutes are in people.
No, you see, the thing is, based on the national chairman is using what the our Lord Justices, the way they explained what they came with and how it was trashed out. So that's why, and if we know, going by a layman's thing of the appeal, when you go for appeal, there's nothing new you're bringing. It's the same thing that you're going to, they're going to look at.
But
so what would have changed?
We've seen cases being lost in the first instance and then upturned.
Super.
In this
very
country.
true. Very true.
Why do you think this can't happen?
Because of what we have. No, I mean, it was for me, even me, elementary law that I know. I mean, honestly, I was shocked that this is what they brought for. We sat for 8 hours listening just for me to hear somebody came from Kenya and was not even certified. The only thing I think our Lord Justices did not do, and because of how respected they was to say, was to say that man was a 419. And for me, I think it is a waste of our time.
Yeah, okay. Let's make the rest of our time here today a little more productive. What are the things that you think the learning curves that you think this judgment has brought that we should tinker with concerning our electoral processes going forward?
Well, clearly for me, what I think is, one, we should start to look at elections not as a do-or-die affair. If you clearly go into elections, you have disputes, you go... For me, clearly, I don't see the essence of us prolonging this. It is their rights; they can do it.
No. The quantum of the allegations that they have raised,
they were not.
Granted, they may be flawed. They may have not been able to, according to the justices, proven beyond reasonable doubt. But those issues are still issues. How do you think we can ensure that those things don't happen again to that degree?
One of the major things I think is we should start thinking about electronic voting. That would help for me. That's one thing I think, because it's high time, I think, if from now on there's an app for me to do my banking, there's an app for me to board to buy an airplane ticket. I think INEC too should have an app whereby we don't need to spend so much of billions. We don't need to deploy, train staff, go to the nooks and corners. We can sit down, and majority of Nigerians, not everybody has the internet or a phone, but at least there should be something that should reduce that, and we can, within the so that elections, we don't even need a public holiday for elections, the way we see it in other countries happen. These are things I think should start to come in place. So that's why I also look forward to the National Assembly sitting down with the executive for a new electoral act, something that would really be more efficient, because I think we still do, our electoral process is still analog, whereby we are counting and then we have 70-something parties, 70-something presidential aspirants.
Mr. Afegbua,
all that should be worked upon.
What must we do quickly so that, because I mean we have a couple of elections in the next few weeks? Is there anything?
Well, you see, the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, or let me say electoral bill, was presented to the president in January, the last time, after 4 different presentations and refusal to sign into this, that to clean up the system. You see, I find it a contradiction that a party and a government where you have so-called progressives, are the ones doing things that are worse than what they blame the previous party of doing. You see, you have an electoral act that will have put pay to some of these issues, issue of electronic voting, voting process, accreditation, and all of that. But they told the president that if he signed it, he was signing his death warrant at the elections. And now
is that what the case is? Or because what we heard from the SSA to the president was that, look, it was too close to the elections.
My God, 2015 elections. Electoral Act was signed in February of 2015 elections. That's what you should know. So why did the president not say it's too close? When is law too close or too far in the first instance? If you are actually for, a credible electoral process. An election conducted under a government of anti-corruption, a government that he claims that the main driver is a man of integrity. recorded over 800 litigations. That should tell you something. It's the highest in the country since democracy.
But one of the critical elements in the new bill that was not signed is the deployment of infrastructure for electronic voting. So if that's what was signed, and do you think we would have had enough time to get all the equipment we would need for that?
See, they all have them because there are budgets for it. Because they thought it was going to be electing. That was why INEC chairman was always talking about electronic voting, server, what have you. It's just, they were just working from answer to question. That's just the truth. Because whether you like it or not, I expected that an election conducted under an APC government, with all the mouthing and talking about anti-corruption and fighting, clean up the system, 873 cases, litigations in court. That is not cheering news. Even the election of 2007, which he made reference to about Yaradua, that necessitated electoral reforms, you didn't record this kind of number. It was a little bit less than 600.
So what should
no, I'm coming. And Yaradua, being a man of integrity, practically, not the one that will say it and allow me to land, please.
You will, but just give me.
So, being a man of integrity, and he acted it, own up that the election that brought him was flawed in faraway Germany.
Okay.
That is how to be a president of integrity.
Why we have this now? Why we have this number? Because now we have a system that everybody has a platform to go if you feel aggrieved. Even during the election, during the campaign, what did the president say? When we were expected to hear a president come and say, everybody go out there, vote for president. Say, no, go and vote your conscience. If you have an issue, you approach the courts.
Which platform is this?
During the campaigns, he said it so many times.
Yeah, but which platform do we have now?
The judiciary, the courts.
But
people were let me tell you why. They were always there, but they were not used. Do you know why? Because people were bullied. In the APC, in the PDP, they come, boom, you can't do this. It was, let's be sincere, that is what we saw. So, and if you talk to people who really were, who would tell you about the process of the PDP, and I know because I went through this process. I'm also in the grassroots. And they tell you that in the PDP, while you're even doing this, they will just be announcing results somewhere else.
But at least, Mr. Afegbua, so you agree that we would like to see next stage should be us voting electronically.
Of course, that was what we prayed for, and they never accepted that.
So there you go. At least they agree on one thing, which
they never accepted that. We want
to end on that agreement.
By now,
the jury can rest.
So there you go.
It's a nice one.
Gasim Afegbua, spokesperson, Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP, and Salisu Mohammed, the member of the APC. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on this morning.
Pleasure.
Thank you.